And we're live. Woohoo!
Hello. It's been a while since
Hi.
I've been with you, Tim. Hi, Barrack.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
It's very nice to meet you. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so to recapitulate a question, Christelle was like, "What on earth is AfricaTweetChat?" During the free chat on the show. So first of all, to anybody who is a bit like Christelle, doesn't know what AfricaTweetChat is, talk about that, and also talk about how you got into branding and running the company and doing all these exciting things in Nairobi.
Thank you very much. AfricaTweetChat is an online chat based on Twitter. We began this 3 years ago now. And basically how we began was we used to go to a lot of meetups in Nairobi. We have a vibrant community in Nairobi on digital. And so we normally have, every weekend actually has an event going on. And so they know that, Barrack and my co-host, Janet Machuka, are experts in certain fields. I am a brand strategist, and Janet is basically an influencer and she's good at strategy as well. So they normally ask us, how can we come together and form a platform where every week we discuss something instead of waiting for a month or so to have an event, 1 or 2 events at that time. So we sat down with Janet, and then the event, the name ATC came, AfricaTweetChat, because we wanted to bring Africa together, not only in Kenya, but we just wanted different countries in Africa to just, join in. And how could they join in was on the platform that was Twitter, that was available then. And so the name AfricaTweetChat came up. And so we went on Twitter. We didn't have any idea of what we were going to do. And so I remember I was the first guest, and Janet was on her phone, asking me questions and stuff like that. And so it grew from there. Different people saw what we were doing, and they got interested, and they could ask if they could be hosts or guests. And so we proposed ideas of how we could pick topics here and there, the topics of that week trending on Twitter or outside Twitter, and then we host and we discussed. And so it grew so much until at such a point that we couldn't, it grew past us. We couldn't keep up with it. So we had to bring in a team, like 3 or 4 guys, to help us every Wednesday, because even tonight we're having one. So every Wednesday, we could come together because there were posters to be made, questions to be brainstormed over, and just come up with something that would run for an hour. And so here we are, 3 or 4 years down the line. We've grown, and we've moved from now having tweet chats like texting, and now we're moving into Twitter Spaces every Wednesday. And so far so good. We've managed to reach like 5 continents now, out of a very low level kind of tweeting up to where we are now. And so that again is moving from the Twitter Spaces to a platform. Now the ATC Digital Academy, ATC is actually AfricaTweetChat. Now ATC Digital Academy, moving from the Spaces to TweetChat to now a platform where you can find tutors, real tutors, with their courses online. You can learn from them, get a certificate out of that, and actually go out there and look for a job using that certificate. And so we've been growing in leaps and bounds, but everything has been moving so good, so far so good.
I have 2 questions then. One, I'll try to ask them in parts, but you triggered something in me. One, I want to know what some of your topics are, but 2, I want to hear more about this certificate. So let's start with 1. What are some of the topics you have in your Twitter Spaces?
Yeah, the topics change weekly based on what people ask most. Yeah, so we normally get, the responses from our audiences. What do they want to learn? So like last week, it was about influencer marketing. How do you rate yourself? How do you get gigs as an influencer? And, the other week was communication. When it goes wrong as a brand, how do you salvage yourself out of that situation? Yeah, how do you respond? It's based on digital marketing purely, PR, filming, strategy. So it's a wide range of topics picked from this different backgrounds of what people want to learn. So it's an array of ideas that we put together and just come up with topics.
Okay.
Yeah, and on to your next question, if you could repeat that, please.
So the second question, it's somewhat related, but you mentioned a certificate that you can now earn. Have you created some kind of virtual academy? Tell us about that.
We sat down with the tutors that we were, looking forward to having on our platform, and we created a curriculum. Yeah, because number one, someone is an expert in branding, and another one is an expert in SEO. So we sit down with them and just listen to what they have, and if they could create a curriculum out of their expertise. And now out of that, you know that when I take an SEO course, I'm not just taking an SEO course from anybody else, but an expert. An expert here is someone that his or her work is well known, a renowned SEO expert. Yeah. So out of what you learn from him, you get a certificate that, you know what, this certify that the exam I took, the test I took is from a well-known SEO expert, and now I can present it somewhere that, you know what, I took this course from ATC, from this expert, and this is what I came out with. So yeah.
Okay. And now, is this specific to Africa, or could someone like me come to you and say, I'm really curious about this, I want to learn more?
This is open to everybody, because even the tutors are not from Africa alone. We just, like I mentioned to you, we are now covering 5 continents, and all the tutors are from all those continents. So it's not just based in Africa. The name is AfricaTweetChat ATC, but the reach is beyond Africa.
Okay, so anyone can come and learn more and be part of your Twitter space.
Yes, anyone.
Yeah, I've actually been a guest on AfricaTweetChat a long time ago, talking about social media networking.
What did you talk about? Oh, social media networking?
Yeah. I wrote a book on it. So
you did. Just kidding.
Yeah.
We're actually planning to have it now on the space.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, we've talked about, it's not specific to Africa, and also the fact you're probably waiting for somebody to be an expert from Antarctica so you can get the extra continent at the bottom as well on your show. But what would you say what are the special challenges to running a marketing or online business in Africa as opposed to any of the rest of the world? Or do you think those, like a lot of the preconceived notions about people dealing with somebody in Africa are actually just not relevant in the modern world?
Yeah. Number one is, brands in Africa took so much time to believe in online marketing. Yeah. So they lagged behind. So we're trying to make them catch up. So that idea of, us telling them, you know what, you're remaining behind. This is what the whole world knows, or this is what the whole world is doing, and you should be catching up. So that has been a bit of a problem for us here, because we learn ahead based on the people we interact with, the network we have, because we are not just interacting with people in Africa. So we are far much ahead. So when you come back, look at Africa and see how brands are still behind, and you're trying to make that is a problem. Number two is the brands themselves tend to believe that they're still in that era of, we still have to have our marketing department within our company or our brand. So if we want to bring you in, you want to have you in, work for us from within. So having to have a consultant out there, or just someone work in an office and work and go home, is still becoming a problem, but we're catching up with that. So I think that those are the 2 major problems that we are having at the moment. But with time, I believe that will be a gone case.
That's good.
Okay, Barrack, so I want to ask you mentioned influencer, and I know what influencer means here in San Diego. I'm kind of curious if it's different there, and I also want to know some of your favorite brands that you like to work with specific to Nairobi. Kind of shout out some of your favorite brands and why they are.
Number one, influencer marketing is constant around the world. It's not it's not different here. It's the same thing we do here is the same thing you're doing out there. And so the brands that I feel, or rather I would want to shout out is Google. Google actually has helped us build a lot here in Africa, and constantly engaging us in building our brands, and giving us or offering us chances to upskill, or rather skills to be better. And then number 2 is Coca-Cola. Actually, Coca-Cola has opened a vast opportunity, or rather platform for us to engage with the marketing, because Coca-Cola is worldwide. So whatever is being the other side, when they bring here, is like an exchange program. Yeah. So whatever is being done on the other side, they tell us this is what is happening on the other side. So we've been able to catch up. So those 2 brands or companies have done a lot for us here.
Okay, I want to get smaller though. I want to go. I like working with. So I am someone who likes to work local. I always like to shout out my locally owned San Diego restaurants that maybe the world doesn't know about. So let's go smaller. Can you shout out some of your companies within Nairobi, your restaurants? I'm a foodie. I love to eat. Something specific to your country.
So Kenya, we have Synefa, that is SYNEFA, and we have Airtel Kenya. We have the restaurants are so many. We have CJ's. We have the names are operating off my head, but those are companies that we worked with closely. We've helped manage their brands, and we still do up to today.
Okay.
Like Synefa, we built Synefa from when it was starting up to now. So.
And what kind of company is that? What is that?
It's an agribusiness. It's what they do is they create tools to help farmers. How do I put it? You see, when they're trying to revolutionize farming, like have tools and softwares that you can you can irrigate your farm even when you're not there. Just use your phone to irrigate your. So there are tools that they have and softwares that they have to help farmers. Make work easier for them. Farming, we realize that farming is no longer a dirty work. So they're trying to even involve the youth to, embrace farming, embrace agriculture as a whole.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
I actually would like to hear more about that. Do they have a website or anything?
Yes.
Okay.
www.synefa.io.
Okay, I might reach out to you and get a reminder about that. That sounds really cool.
I'll share a lot with you about that.
Good.
Good. Let's talk a bit about your business, which is the Sparks Corps. Is it like Sparks Corporation? Or it's not corporation, it's Smart Corporates. If I get that right at some point. How did you because presumably the AfricaTweetChat came out a lot of the meetups and stuff, as you said, but you've got this business where you do a lot of branding stuff for companies in Africa. So how did that end up starting, and how did you end up getting into branding in the first place?
I'll start way back because my dad was into business so much, and he's passed now. And so I used to hang around him so much, and I used to see how he does his things. He used to like putting things the right way. And to me, I realized that, branding starts with you and starts in your head. How do you want people to perceive something? How do you want people to see something? And to him, he used to do those things practically. Like if he needs to pack his car a certain way, he would pack his car a certain way, dressed in a beige suit, he would carry his, suitcase to match, or rather briefcase to match. And so looking at how he used to do things, and when I went to school, I learned business management, and went on to actually start again on TV production. So I wanted to marry the two, and couldn't find where to marry the two. And so when I sat down and just reevaluated how TV production and business management would come together, and marketing came. All right. And in marketing is huge. Marketing is the strategy bit. Marketing is just a branding bit. And so I loved branding, because looking back again at how my father used to do things, that was the closest thing.
Yeah.
All right. And so I looked at brands and I wanted to change certain things. And so I started branding, the names, the logos, looking at the colors. I loved telling stories about brands. And that is how branding was born in me. And so I was a one-man guitar or a one-man solo artist, but then
Yeah.
I looked at the brands that I was talking to at that time, and once I did one brand, I branded a brand on websites, the colors and the stories. Other brands looked at that and started asking, who did this to you, or who did this for you? And that they started coming. So I had to have a company where, a legal entity where they could come and do things the proper way. And that's how ATC was born. I mean, Sparks was born.
Yeah.
So the Sparks was born. So that's now the home, the marketing agency where we do branding, the storytelling bit, the filming and all that. So it's actually different from ATC, because ATC started out of, the meetups we had, but this one started out of my personal experiences with brands.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about your meetups. Can anyone come to your meetups who are involved in social media? Like, if I happen to be in Nairobi, could I show up and be part of these
Absolutely.
meetups? Okay.
Absolutely. You don't even need to be you might be in tech or fintech or whatever or just a realtor somewhere, but then you just want to come and have the feel of how things are done and just get an experience of meeting new people, networking, and just knowing what people do in Nairobi. It's open to everybody.
Yeah. Do you have topics, or is it just networking? Is it both?
It's both, because in meetups, if you don't have an agenda, then it becomes something else. Yeah. So the agenda is the topics. So what trends, what new things are you seeing? Because in Nairobi, it's a metropolis. We have guys from London, like team. We have guys from Europe, France. So when we meet, what's happening in France, we discuss that. What's happening in Spain, we discuss that. So it's just a whole lot going on.
Okay. You gave me an idea and I wrote it down. So I'm constantly thinking, I'm like, oh, I like this idea.
Are you flying out to Nairobi now then, Christine?
We forget about, for some reason here in California, San Diego, I don't know about the rest of my country, we forget about actual meetups. We're always going to do this thing versus meetups. And sometimes more people will come to meetups and we forget that. So I wrote that down. So you gave me an idea right here.
That's nice to hear that.
Yeah, so that's all I was doing, Tim.
Okay, so this may sound like I'm fishing for financial advice, and I suppose I am, but if we exclude Kenya, because I suspect you would say Kenya, what is the country in Africa you are most excited about in terms of just online business and stuff like that? If you had to pick one country in Africa, apart from Kenya,
that would be Nigeria.
Nigeria. Oh, okay.
It's vibrant. You see, Kenya is referred to as the capital of Africa. Yeah, because it's strategic in terms of business, in terms of the environment where you can start your business, go to school, and stuff like that. But then Nigeria is also coming up in terms of online business. So looking at Kenya and Nigeria, we at par, but Nigeria is more vibrant in terms of giving us the new ideas of how to do that online business. And so we're trying to catch up with them, but then they're a very good country at the moment, because they've opened a new level of competition with Kenya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you work directly with any companies over there, or do you have clients from there?
Yes, actually, we have clients from 4 countries.
Okay.
Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, and Tanzania.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question and it left, Tim. I'm doing what?
Well, I was going to ask a follow-up because I'm a negative Nelly person. What's the country you think in Africa that is the most far behind in terms of online business? So we've had Nigeria and Kenya are the most ahead, probably.
Yeah.
Where do you think, like, I really wish that country would kind of like get more into online business?
I'll be crucified for this. Can I pass?
He doesn't want to say this, Tim. What are you doing?
Well, it's really only giving Christelle time to think of another question.
What if we each answered from our own country? What if I said, Tim, which city is that?
Which county? Cumbria would probably be the county in England.
Oh, Cambria. You mean in London? The Cambria that I like to...
No, Cumbria.
Oh, that's Camden.
Cumbria. Yeah, I just picked that at random, actually. It's fine. It is an unfair question. You just need to kind of say something general, or maybe some of the sub-Saharan countries somewhere, right, and then just waffle for a bit, and then you don't answer the question in general.
If I were to name somewhere in my country, I would be in so much trouble.
Well, yeah, but yeah, so that's like mention anywhere in the US.
Or maybe there was a potential client from that country, and they want to do it and be like,
well, that would boost them up from the bottom, wouldn't it? From being like, by being your client.
I'd be in so. Barrack, can I change the subject a little bit, because I love to travel, and
I do as well.
Okay, I kind of want to change to this. Tell me about your travels. It can be in Africa, outside of Africa. Well, let's start with this. What do you love most about Nairobi? What's your favorite thing about Nairobi? And then let's expand it from there. Where do you like to travel?
Something I love about Nairobi is the many things I can do in Nairobi. One time I can be in a park, in a national park. We actually have a national park right inside of the city. Yeah, so I can just take an Uber and I'm in a national park and have a natural view of everything. Number two is the weather in Nairobi. Sometimes it's not too much cold. I don't like cold weather, so the weather in Nairobi is just okay. Yeah, and then the restaurant experience in Nairobi, because I think, just like I mentioned to you, Nairobi is a metropolis, and we have different cultures in Nairobi, and you can have actually more than 100 cultures in Nairobi at the same time. So you can visit from Ethiopian restaurant to Spanish restaurant to Chinese so all that is there in Nairobi. So that's what I like about Nairobi. Number two, the places I've actually visited more than 20 countries.
Okay.
And in Africa, apparently in Africa, I've only visited 2.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it actually
what 2 countries? Well, obviously Nairobi, but what?
Tanzania, Uganda.
Okay.
But from Nairobi, because I'm from Kenya.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 countries I have been in Africa.
Okay.
But I'm planning to start, touring a lot, because we have opportunities in those other countries cropping up now.
Okay, I have a question for you, and this goes back to my old experience, and maybe you're going to say this is a horrible restaurant. I have no idea, but I've heard a lot about a restaurant named Carnival, I think it is. Do you know that? Yeah,
Carnival restaurant. Yes, I do.
Carnivore. That Carnivore, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about this. I mean, this is the restaurant I always hear about. Is it? Is this a hype thing around the world, or do you actually like it? I think he froze. It was.
Come again?
I think you froze for a second. Tell me about, is this a hyped up restaurant for the world, or do you enjoy it?
It's a good restaurant. Very good. It's not a hype. I mean, you should believe the hype.
You should believe the hype. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It is a good restaurant.
It is. Okay. It's worth visiting.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Right. Well, let's try and steer the conversation back to business and stuff for a second. Why, like, I think you've done a good job of this already, but
thank you.
Why should let's say Christelle was suddenly got moved to Africa for some reason, or Christelle might do it anyway, to be honest, but why should she think about looking at the ATC Digital Library? And also, like, how much does it cost for somebody to actually take part in the digital training that you do? And how does that process work in terms of getting the certificate?
I'll start by how much it costs to have classes on our. Actually, it costs from it goes from $30 to $90. So it depends with the duration of the course you want to take, and it depends with the bundle of the course. Like if I say bundle, it means do you want to take like an individual course or a group course?
Yeah.
So an individual course goes for $30 and you're done. 3 months, some are weekly, some are 2 weeks. So it depends. It depends with the duration of the course. It depends with the bundle or the amount of time you want to spend on a course. And so your next question is how much, or rather, if she, Christelle wanted to come to Nairobi or Africa, move to Africa, how would that be?
I do want to visit.
Please come. Please come. Yeah. Africa, or rather Nairobi, has moved. It's not, you know, when you say to someone that you come from Africa, they look at you and they feel Africa is not at par with the rest of the world, or Africa is still behind. I can tell you that story is gone, because Africa is actually making inroads into ICT, or rather online business, and everything is moving online. Today, if I want to make a purchase, even outside, I mean, from my grocery, I use a card, or I have apps on my phone. I just shop on my phone, and then within 10 minutes, I have my groceries on my door. And so everything has changed. So we're not left behind. What Christelle would find in US is the same thing you're going to find here. So life hasn't. I mean, it's still the same. Nothing is different from what you're experiencing there. Yeah.
Do you like? I always ask these kind of questions because I just like to. But do you like to work with small businesses within?
Actually, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you like to work with small businesses within Nairobi and perhaps outside of Nairobi, within Kenya, perhaps some of the other countries around you? Do you prefer working with small businesses, or do you like to expand? Because there's something very different about the small business compared to a network of businesses.
Yes, that's our model of operation, modus operandi, if I would call it, because we realized that what the biggest marketing agencies can do, or the budget that they demand, not many businesses have, but we still offer the same services, or even better. I have seen that. And so how then do we accommodate these small businesses to reach their goals in terms of online marketing? And so we open that door for them. We bridge that gap, because what the likes of Ogilvy do is the same thing that we do. Yeah. So if you want ads, we do that. If you want branding, we do it. If you want your story be told in a different way, if you want influencer marketing, we have that.
Yeah.
So instead of you having $1 million budget, how about a quarter of that, and you get the same services, and much better, because there's that one-on-one communication between the client and the agency, as opposed to speaking to a whole team that you even don't know or you don't see. Yeah. So that personal touch, and that if I have a problem, I can reach you over just a phone call or a text. So they get that experience, and they get much more. So we are bridging that gap because we work with small businesses. That doesn't mean that we don't work with the big companies or the big brands, but then our concentration is low level kind of businesses.
Very, very locally owned small businesses. Those are my personal favorites. What can you offer a small business that has very little budget? Because that seems to be a problem across the globe. We're a small mom and pop business. We have a very small budget. What can you offer to those kind of businesses?
See, when you say small budget, that's relative. Yeah. And because why I said that is because maybe what you want is managing of your social media. Yeah. And I can give you an example. Managing a social media for a small brand, we offer as low as $1,000 USD. Yeah, for 3 social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we create content for you. So that's within the budget. So looking at the brands we've worked with, that's comfortable for them, quote unquote, comfortable, because that's something they at the end of the month they can comfortably pay. Yeah, and so they're getting value for the money. So a lot of brands reach out to us, and sometimes we get overwhelmed, and then we can't accommodate all those brands. But that gives us, an indication that the budget is great, or rather, the budget is okay, and they get value for that money. And so that's why we maintain it at that. Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes, well, tell us the value in this, because I think sometimes businesses and even nonprofits, which is actually where I work, we say we still can't afford the $1,000. So tell us the value in hiring someone like you.
Yeah. So say, for example, you want to hire a social media manager in one of the nonprofits that you run, right? How much would that be?
Yeah.
Because I know you won't tell them to run 3-4 accounts at the same time and create content at the same time, right? You'll either give them at most 2 and content creation. But now if we say, instead of hiring 3 or 4 of those, hire one, same amount of money, but more in terms of what are you getting? You're getting content creation. If you want videos, if you want graphics, photos, if you have an event, we will actually come there and live tweet for you from your account, create content, and engage with the audience. So you realize that actually the amount of money you're paying us is even less. But from our side, if we have 4 or 5 brands, we can then accommodate more. Meaning, economies of scale. The more you have, the greatest discount you can get. All right. As opposed to if you have 2 or 1 brand, then you don't see the sense in business terms. So a nonprofit, say you have that's 500 USD, and you think that is what you can have, we still accommodate you and we still give you the same. We are that flexible. We don't look at, because we believe it's not about the money. It's about what can you gain out of the relationship we're building. Because tomorrow, once your company is able to get that amount of money, you are not going to look elsewhere, because Barrack and Pax are here and doing an amazing job. So let's raise your pay. Yeah.
And I suppose if they're really cheap, then they can just sign up for the ATC University courses and do it themselves. I mean, that's like, because I mean, I think you're on the point here. This is true of a lot of non-profit and a lot of small companies and a lot of authors, actually, in that they don't realize they're spending like 20 hours a week on social media posting when they could be just paying somebody else to do it. And okay, it's maybe $1,000 that they haven't had, but that 20 hours could be earn them way more money than that $1,000. So
when we look at the hours to money to what we can put out by hiring outside, I think that's true, and it's something that somehow
it's the whole money versus time thing is lost, especially in non-profit areas. I mean, I work for non-profit as well, so it's like, it will spend 50 hours a week on it, but we won't spend $200 on it. So, anyway, can you tell people how to, let's say somebody watches this show and they suddenly think, I want to work with Barrack. how can people get in touch with you, and how can people find out more about your business and AfricaTweetChat?
Yeah, I'm available on all the platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as Barrack Onyango. On Twitter is @Barry Onyango. But if you just write Barrack Onyango, you'll see me, and you'll see.
Up,
yeah, my profile is there, and everything. All the information is there. On my website is www.sparkscorporates.com. So if you click there, you'll get everything. You'll get my email. You get a phone number to reach me, and so you'll get actually on the platform, on the website. You'll get, if you need some work done for your business, there's a questionnaire place where you can actually put in all the details you need, and we'll get it and get back to you. So those are the places you can get me.
And the college, the online. What are we calling it?
That is yet to be launched. We're planning to launch it next month.
Okay.
We were filming the courses now, and we had almost done. So by next month, we're launching the platform. ATC.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Tell us about that, and we can post about it probably in our ONO Facebook.
Yeah, I'll share with you the timelines and the communique and everything you need, and then so that would be very easy for you during the launch, so you can help us share.
Yeah. Very cool. Good.
Thank you.
I have a connected website on my site which you can scan if you scan the QR code, which is I have the whole confusing mirror thing.
That's
right
it.
there.
Yeah, it's the opposite way around. I mean, it mirrors everything. This.
It's right there.
That takes you to and it basically has a YouTube video of this, and it has your Twitter and website address. I should probably put the other links down there as well. But if you send me stuff for the university, anybody who watches this in the future, maybe can just go directly to the ATC website.
That's so fun.
I'll share that with you.
Yeah.
This was really, really fun getting to know you and learning about your business, but also learning a little bit more about places that I would like to go visit. I have more questions. This is my future goals.
Yeah,
we can suggest, or we can have another show altogether for a different segment for places you want to.
Yeah, I have questions about places to visit, travel, restaurants. Tim will have to have him back.
We had Janet, his co-host, on, but you were off for some reason, so it was just me that talked to Janet, and she mentioned ATC University. So they better by the next time we have them on, they better have done it. No excuses.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. And thank you very much, guys, for hosting me.
Yeah, thanks a lot for being a guest. And I'm now going to play, and you can hang around and talk to us after the show, or not, as the case may be. I'm going to play the outro now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
This is what God requires.